Hey everybody, it's John again, Contract Diagnostics. I can't show you a video if you're listening to this on a podcast, but I recently took a contract, of course took out all the confidential information, and I uploaded it to ChatGPT and I said, give me 5 pointers on this contract from a physician's perspective, right? And it gave me 5 things. And it said, 1, it doesn't mention malpractice insurance. That's important. 2, it doesn't have a non-compete. That's good. 3, there's no confidentiality clause. That's good. 4, it doesn't list dispute resolution and what the process is. And then it said 5, it doesn't have any information on how you're paid. The problem was it got 1 right out of 5. It said there's no dispute resolution process, which was true. But it said there wasn't any information on pay. But in Exhibit A of the agreement, it was very clear what the physician was paid per RVU. Now, it didn't give a salary, and I would assume that any artificial intelligence out there would know that a physician doesn't have to have a salary that could get paid on an RVU. But I don't know, it got that one wrong. It's talked about confidentiality, but Section 6 was very clear on a confidentiality clause. It said there wasn't any information on malpractice insurance, but it was very clear. Section 4 was on malpractice insurance, but it didn't say what kind of insurance, and it didn't mention who pays for tail. But it was very clear that malpractice was listed. It just didn't talk about what type or about the tail policy. But ChatGPT didn't say that. It also said that there's nothing in there about a non-compete, but it was very clear in one of the sections that there was a 1-year, 10-mile non-compete from any of the facilities that the employer had. So I don't know how a intelligence like this can get 4 things out of 5 wrong, but it did. But let's just pretend that it got it right. Then I continued to ask it, well, who do I negotiate with? And it gave me some fluffy answer, right? You want to negotiate with a person that has, but it doesn't give you who. And then I said, but what about this particular organization? And it said, well, an organization like this, maybe the CEO or maybe the CFO, but it was a small private practice. They don't even have a CEO. They have a physician that's a manager, they have a lawyer that's there, they have a couple of nurses, right? And an admin person, like someone who does the books and everything. So who there? It didn't tell you. And then I asked, but how much should I get paid for my craft in this market? And it didn't know. It said compensation structures vary so greatly, it's important to understand all the factors when you take into account how much your compensation could be. And then I asked it a couple more questions about what are other good due diligence questions, and it didn't give me a defined answer. I asked, how do I frame it from my perspective as a nervous pediatrician or as a surgeon who is more boisterous? And it didn't know. So I say all that because I think ChatGPT is wonderful. I think we can use artificial intelligence for many things in our lives to make it easy, whether it's finding a recipe to cook, which I've used it for, whether it's finding a good restaurant with a terrace in the sun at a certain time of day, which I've used it for, whether it's providing ideas for my 10-year-old son and how to keep him busy so he's not as an iPad, or if it's even finding the best 5 restaurants in a city for brunch that I might be going to. So I think it's got wonderful utility and amazing things. And writing a poem is also very fun, by the way. But I don't think it's going to look at contracts. I don't think it's going to replace the human intellect that comes to looking at a contract. And of course, customizing it to your story. So when you guys call us and give us your frame, your story, we know that you want to be here for a year. The practice dynamics look like this. They haven't hired anybody for 5 years. So they've hired 1 person a year for the last 5 years. And you don't have that level of context, that customization. Plus, it's great to have a personal approach. So as you have a question, you can get an answer. If it's not answered right, you can clarify. You've got access and you can be dialed in at the time of the review. Plus having an agreement that you can easily understand, compensation figures that are relevant and then customized to you is super, super valuable. So when it comes to looking at what artificial intelligence is going to do in medicine, I think it's going to do wonderful things, making physicians more efficient, making administrative burden and paperwork less common, automating basic tasks like maybe prior auths, or helping even with the staff shortage that we have in some institutions, maybe around anesthesia, not by administering, but by monitoring, or maybe helping room patients, or maybe doing basic routine, easy, simple diagnosis or an analysis of blood work, or even imaging and radiology and MRI to a certain level. But I don't think they're going to replace the the interaction that a human has with a human. I don't think it's going to replace contract reviews because of the importance of the detail and how getting something wrong is just unacceptable. And that's where contract diagnostics comes in. We've been doing this work for 12 years, and if you have anything that you need help with regarding a contract, a compensation structure, or just an ear to talk through your situation, we have a free 15-minute phone call you can sign up for on our website at any time. Check us at contractdiagnostics.com. And if you have anything that you'd like to hear in the future about topics for artificial intelligence in healthcare, feel free to send them in. We always welcome your comments.